Trio WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRUSH.
We have a problem with drunk driving in Minnesota, and we have an even bigger problem with figuring out what to do with people who have done it time after time after time. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Dan is here. Mark Fry on the news. This story has me absolutely furious. A woman in Eagan is hit and killed by a drunk driver. She was walking in an intersection over the weekend. And a guy, this is a 40-year-old woman. She's from Richfield, Leslie Youngberg. The guy who is charged with crashing into her and killing her has been convicted of drunk driving 3 times. 3 times over the last 14 years. There are examples all over the world of countries that take this more seriously than we do. My question for you, is it time to take drunk driving so seriously that we go to zero tolerance? That we go to one time that you're over .08 and you're spending a month in lockup? Or you're getting, as they do in a couple countries around the world, you get fined based on what your salary is. So you spend 30 days locked up and you have to pay 1 month's salary. 651-461-9226. It is the one crime that I think people sort of wink, could happen to anybody. And here this woman is killed because a guy should 0% be driving. 58-year-old in Dakota County District Court was charged today. And the Star Tribune reporting that he's being held on $300,000 bail. And they confiscated his passport to make sure he doesn't make a run for it. But this guy was last convicted, and this frosts me too. This goes to, it's not only you and me and lawmakers who don't take drunk driving seriously enough. This guy lost control of his car, flipped his vehicle onto its roof in Richfield in January of 2023. His blood alcohol content was .118. Nearly 1.5 times the legal limit for driving. He was convicted in 2023, sentenced to 30 days in jail and 3 years of supervised probation, but he was released from probation a full year early. So he would have still been under probation over the weekend when he killed this lady. He would have still been on probation. Maybe he wouldn't have been driving. I don't know. You never know with this stuff. But why would a judge let him off of probation a year early? I don't know. I think we have this idea because you and I cannot see ourselves committing a murder. Most of us can't see ourselves committing assault or kidnapping, even like some of these reckless car crashes. You're like, well, I don't think we would be driving at 120 miles an hour and slam into somebody. So it's easy for us to kind of have this tough on crime approach with a bunch of crimes that you could never consider yourself doing. Something about drunk driving that too many of us are like, well, How many times did I not get caught? The reality is, people are being killed. Someone was killed this weekend because of a drunk driver. And you don't see the outrage about it. If it's your family, maybe you get outraged about it. To me, it is outrageous. I believe that if you get convicted of drunk driving once, you should spend 30 days in lockup. And if you get convicted twice, I don't know, man. It's got to be more serious than 3 years probation that they knocked down to 2. Interlock devices, I think everybody should be required. You got to blow. You got to blow to drive. But I do think you need to be locked up on first offense. Too often it gets negotiated down, and it sets the table for people who are just going to do this over and over and over. 651-461-9226. One texter says, yes, lock up on your first offense. However, we need more prevention. All bars should have to card all patrons, and your license should show if you've been convicted of drunk driving, and then the bar can't serve you. Oh, that's interesting. I would support that 100%. You get convicted of drunk driving. I think on first offense, everything's digital, right? You can set up, a lot of these bars scan your license anyway, like a bouncer scans the barcode. You would think you could code the license or punch a hole in it or something for while you're on probation. Jason, 100% agree. We are way too easy on drunk drivers. Gary is in St. Louis Park. Gary, thanks for listening. Do you think we're too lenient on drunk drivers?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yes. And I've got the perfect solution, and I feel no mercy for anybody that gets stuck with this. Your first offense, $50,000 fine, and you sit your big chocolate butt in jail until every cent of it is paid.
$50,000.
That would eliminate a lot of people from driving drunk.
Yeah. That you would think that would change behavior, right? Like when you know that the penalty is so severe that would change things. I sometimes wonder, like, you don't see the remember when they used to have like those like the highway stops where they just pull everybody over and test.
Oh yeah.
And
I remember that.
I don't. It must be unconstitutional or illegal or something, but to me it seems very reasonable that if you thought that there is a chance they're going to pull over everybody, it would change the way that you behave out there. You know, maybe we don't have the people to do it. I don't know, but I do think those kind of things would make a difference. $50,000. Yeah.
The problem is it's constant. There's nothing deterring a lot of these people. It's everywhere you go, every highway, even every side street. People are just flying up and down the road like we're supposed to yield to them or something.
I know. It's never. I feel like it's never been this bad, Gary. When I'm out on the roads, I just have never felt like sort of as fearful as I do today.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And there's got to be something bigger than what we're holding over their heads right now.
I think so.
And something like that. If I knew I was going to get hit $50,000 and I sit in jail until every cent of it is paid, man, I'm watching my speedometer.
Gary, thank you. Hank is in Hudson. Hank, thanks for listening. Do you think we're too lenient on this?
Yes, I do blood alcohols for 5 years, and it's an addiction. It's like somebody on meth. They don't care. They'll get in their car and continue to drive because it's an addiction to alcohol. So you get that taken care of. But the fact that I found out that they want is their car. Where's my car? And I always thought you get caught driving drunk, your vehicle gets impounded until you finish a drug treatment program. Doesn't matter if it's grandma's car, your sister's car, or your girlfriend's car. It gets impounded. You pay for the impounding every week it sits there. Because I do blood alcohols on people. I had kept track of it in a book, and there were people I drew blood alcohols on at least 5 times within a year.
Wow, same people.
They were revoked. Their license was revoked. Their insurance was gone. It's an addiction, and you've got to treat both the addiction and my way of curing it was take away the vehicle.
Interesting.
And they can't drive. Okay.
Hank, thank you. Appreciate that. You know, I think that is worth considering. Is that the move where your vehicle gets impounded? Where it is, you know, hearing Hank that when he was dealing with people who were suspected of drunk driving and testing their blood alcohol level, that the reality is the number one question was, where's my car? Interesting. The flip side of it is the other point that Hank made, and Jason raises this on Facebook, watching our Facebook video stream, that it is an addiction. Yeah. And so is there a punishment that can affect behavior? I think there is, because there's an addiction for some, and there is reckless behavior for others, right? You can't maybe affect the addiction.
And it isn't a one solution fixes everything kind of deal. You know, I as much as I appreciate Gary's idea of that severe punishment,
the 50 grand,
it doesn't take into account that there are, and a lot of times the multiple recidivisms, the folks that have 6 DWIs, that's an addiction situation, and you can, you know, make it $11 million of a fine. It doesn't matter. They're going to do what they're going to do, which doesn't mean we shouldn't punish people. It doesn't mean that there isn't a place for deterrence and for punishment. That's going to work for some folks. But I think to Hank's point is enormously important for the folks that have an addiction issue. Yes, punishment, but if there's not also some form of treatment involved, then, you know, you come up with whatever punishment you want. It's not going to fix the problem. The trick with treatment is that you can force somebody to go to a treatment program. If they're not really ready to do the deal and get clean, it's not going to work. So it's a really complicated situation.
Let's break. Lots of texts. What's your idea? Is there a tougher punishment? Is there a better way? I think we all agree that we're too lenient on this. But what do we do? 651-461-9226. Drive Time back in a minute on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You know, last hour, I heard our friend Jamie Yukis talk about the challenge that she has in getting an appointment with her dermatologist. She lives in California. But this is a story I've heard from so many CCO listeners, that just getting an appointment is such a challenge. Or when you call your old dermatologist or you're looking for a new one, maybe you need a full body skin checkup, maybe you have a mark or a mole or something that's changed shape or color. Reach out to my dermatologist, Tureen Dermatology, because Dr. Mohiba Tureen guarantees they will get you in within 3 weeks, not 3 months, 3 weeks. They have 10 locations all over the Twin Cities. They are the experts. It's where I go. My wife actually just put this to the test. She reached out to Tureen Dermatology because she had a mark on her face, and she's like, I had never seen that before. So she called. One phone number gets you to all 10 of these locations, 651-633-6883. You can go to Roseville or Eagan or Hudson or all over the place. So Alyssa makes the call. They got her in the next day because they're like, mark on your face. We got to get a look at that. Tureen Dermatology will take care of you. They have changed the lives, really, of so many CCO listeners. So reach out to my team. Tureen is the website, Tareen. You can request an appointment online as well. Do it at TureenDermatology.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Jason DeRUSH.
You never know on this show, yes.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
A guy who had been convicted of drunken driving 3 times since 2012, including once just 3 years ago, is accused of killing a 40-year-old woman in Eagan this weekend. And this is not the first time that we've talked about this sort of thing on this show. A multi-repeat offender, a guy, and it's more often than not a guy, with a history of drunk driving. And we're talking about what do we do? Because I'm sick of it. I think you're sick of it too. But we feel absolutely impotent to deal with it. Tougher punishments don't seem to make a real dent, and the punishments never quite get tough enough, I think. We're talking about killing people. We're talking about literally putting people's lives at risk. And we deal with drunk driving like you're running a stop sign or something. I don't know if people are intimidated by it or afraid of it, and I think they should. What should we do about it? 651-461-9226. There are some examples around the world where, for example, in Japan, there is straight up zero tolerance. If you have blood alcohol between 0.03 and 0.04%, which would be, I don't know, probably not even a pint of beer for most people, you could be locked up for up to 3 years and have a $5,000 fine. And you lose your driver's license for 3 months. Well, you're also probably going to lose your job. The fine, I mean, you lose your license. Who cares if you're locked up for 3 years? If you're over 0.04%, which would probably be like a cocktail, 5 years in prison. Fine of $10,000, and you get fired. Japan has eliminated drinking and driving. They had some alcohol-related fatal crashes around the turn of the century, and authorities in Japan said in 2002, we're done. Alcohol-fueled fatalities dropped by over half instantly and by up to 80% over the next few years. The passengers in the car, they get prosecuted too. Where the theory is if you're letting somebody drive drunk, you're responsible as well. And so all told, this has pretty much eliminated the issue. Now, I would say here in Minnesota, where it's the hardest is where you don't have easy access to Uber or taxi. Your greater Minnesota sort of tavern when you've got like the downtown, quote unquote, with 2 bars, farm implement store, and that's about it. But we also have seen other countries where what they do is they fine you. And I do think this is so interesting because our caller's theory where you would fine somebody $50,000 really overly punishes people who are of low income. And if you're a millionaire, well, that hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much if you make $50,000 a year, for example. But you find somebody based on their salary, where you say, like, all right, what's your salary? Your fine is 1.5 months of your salary. Texter saying, Jason, 12,500 men, women, and children were killed and impaired driving fatalities. In 2023, the state of Utah has a .05 blood alcohol level. State of Illinois has legislation for the same. I don't know. Like, is that the move? I wonder if that would change people's behavior. I do think it would change my behavior. If the new blood alcohol limit was .05, then you're to the point where it's like, well, you could never chance it, right? Because depending on your weight, .05, it might be, if you got a tall beer, you're there. If you had 2 glasses of wine, you might be there. I would like to see everyone convicted of drunk driving required to have a car interlock where you blow into the thing, and required to have it for 10 years. You got to pay for it. That's what I would like to see. And then I do think time locked up. Now, we're getting a lot of texts about people who are addicted. And I acknowledge the legal remedies here are not necessarily going to deal with the addict. If you are convicted 3 times of drunk driving, are you an addict? Are you a drunk? I don't know, man. I think it's easy to say, like, yep, that person is addicted. Maybe I'm being too judgmental, but I'm not willing to just jump to diagnosis there. I do think you have some agency in the decisions you make, and I think people are making decisions.
But isn't even that question a sign that we're treating this as an either or? That is this purely a bad decision, a poor choice of will, or is this an addiction that you can't control? Is it a punishment situation or is it a treatment situation? I would argue that there needs to be a mix of the two. That even if this is an addiction situation, you still need to face some serious punishment.
The consequence. Yeah.
You also need to be given some sort of treatment. And even if you're not a full-blown addict, if you're on your 3rd DWI, son, you have a problem with booze, whether that's a full-blown addiction or not. So, yes, there needs to be serious punishment, and there also needs to be some opportunity at some sort of education to try and help get you out of this pattern. We can't punish our way out of it. We can't treat our way out of it. It's got to be a mix of the two.
I think we have to take it seriously, though. And that's the main issue. I would be happy if you know what? I wouldn't be happy if all we do is improve treatment. I do believe we have to improve the punishment. And Texter says, obviously, like, the police do not have time to do traffic enforcement. And their hands are tied on pulling people over for minor traffic violations, which is true. I think we have to take it seriously, or you have to just say we're okay with the fact that people are going to continue to be killed. 3:32, we're going to break. In a minute, I want to talk about the increased focus on fraud in Minnesota, which I'm glad for. But there are real world effects of some of these federal freezes, some of the state freezes. What is our massive attention to fraud doing for legit nonprofits who are trying to serve people who have real needs. We'll talk about that in the mental health area in just a minute here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO. Some things in life just aren't reliable. Like the check engine light that only comes on after you've broken down. The motion sensor faucet in the airport bathroom.
Come on. Why?
Like that buddy of yours who swears he'll help you move, but on the day of, trust isn't given, it's earned. And for over 100 years, when it's mattered most, Minnesotans have come here. News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store for your no-obligation custom fitting. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Call 855-554-3338 or stop by our locations in Roseville, Maple Grove, Burnsville, and Woodbury.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Step into pain relief.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
If it's 5:21, I do.
Let me check my watch.
Not the time, silly. I'm talking about Barufka's 521 swivel glider chair. Our guests have fallen in love with its cozy embrace and effortless movement. The 521 creates a calming retreat in any room.
Featuring plush, high-density, high-resiliency seat foam, a solid maple hardwood frame, and a steel spring unit for consistent, long-term support.
With over 500 fabric and leather choices, our design team will help you put it all together.
Constructed in Indiana, the 521 swivel glider chair is Craftsman Direct priced from $1927 or $81 a month for 24 months. So whether it's 6 a.m., noon, or 11 at night, you'll fall in love with 521.
Oh, Jim. Barufka's. No gimmicks, haggling, or hard-to-understand pricing. In Woodbury, Burnsville, and Minnetonka.
Decidedly worth your time.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30-plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
In a world that's racing a mile a minute, a split-second distraction can change everything. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. Every day we see too many people, heads buried in their phones, unaware of the dangers they're in. Texting and driving isn't just reckless, it's playing Russian roulette with your life and the lives of others. In just 4 seconds of distraction, you've driven the length of a football field. Is there any text message that's worth your life, that's worth the lives of others? I've been fighting for the rights of the injured for over 30 years, but I'd rather you never meet me in a courtroom. So hear me now, stop texting and driving. Pay attention. Value your lives and the lives around you. And if you won't, know this, at Bradshaw & Bryant, we're relentless. We won't back down. We bring justice to those that need it.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
With Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Got a stalled vehicle in the left lane of South 169 at Highway 55. Now moved off the left shoulder. Patrol on First are on the scene. That's going to keep things slow yet as you come down from Medicine Lake Road. If you're going to be traveling inbound to downtown Minneapolis, 394 eastbound sluggish yet as you make way between Work Parkway and 94. West 94 jams up as moved between Cedar Avenue and the Lowry Hill Tunnel. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Well, things are about to change in the weather forecast, that's for sure. Our friend Chris Schaefer has the update.
3 rounds of snow in the next several days. The first one hits tonight. We could see 1 to 3 inches by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. A winter weather advisory for those listening in western Wisconsin where you could see a little more snow. 28 the overnight low, only a high of 39 on a breezy day. We'll see some sunshine, but it's going to feel pretty raw out there. Another round of rain to snow late on Thursday. That will be lighter, and we're still keeping an eye on a system that could bring some heavy snow this weekend.
Live radar showing some rain in downtown Minneapolis. If you go north a little bit, Wilmer, Montevideo, Olivia, St. Cloud, Malacca, it looks like a little bit of snow starting to fall. We're just starting the process. We'll keep you up to date here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, another day, another approach when it comes to fraud in Minnesota. The governor today proposed centralizing more of the human services in Minnesota. Lots of ideas here. They're talking about getting rid of some of the managed care organizations like Blue Cross and Medica when you're looking at Medicaid programs. Lawmakers, are they digging any of this? We'll see. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of talk about this at the legislature for sure as we are in election year. One of the things that concerns me as you have a federal focus on fraud and the state focus on fraud is what the impact on all of this is to the non-fraudsters who are doing most of the actual work in trying to help people who need help in Minnesota. So we asked Lou Zeidner, the CEO of EOSIS, to join us in studio to talk a little bit about that. Lou, it's good to have you here.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
EOSIS is one of the biggest behavioral health and addiction treatment organizations in the state, right? What kind of people are you helping out?
Well, most of our patients come to us because they have troubles with substance use, and oftentimes they have mental health challenges in addition to that.
When you look at sort of the federal funding, the taxpayer funding, the Medicaid side of things, how important is that into your actual operations?
It's critical to our operations. 83% of our patients are on Medicaid or the Behavioral Health Fund, which is an adjacent fund from the Medicaid. And without that kind of funding, they can't get care. So the access to care is very limited without Medicaid.
So what, when you hear things like the federal government freezing funding, how has that impacted you guys?
Well, the biggest issue right now for us is that it has an emotional impact. We work really hard to do the right thing, to help people, to be there when people need that help. And the perception that there is fraud gives one a taint to the work that we do. We work really hard to be on the right side of the rules. That's not something to be, applauding, but at the same time, we work hard at that. Last year we lost a lot of money because the rates were so low, and we weren't able to give employees any raises, despite the fact that inflation was really high last year. And they all showed up the next day to work, and they kept showing up to work because they're committed to the work that they do. And I think that's an important message in addition to all the others.
When you say the rates, you're talking about the reimbursement rates?
Correct.
So a lot of our listeners understand that when you're talking about sort of, your regular hospital visit, right? You get the bill and you see how much the Medicaid will reimburse the hospital. And we've seen hospitals like Hennepin Healthcare and HCMC saying they may have to shut down because the reimbursement rates are so low. At the same time, we have so much conversation in Minnesota about mental health and addiction. And, you name the problem, from poor performance in school for young people, for anxiety and depression, all the way up to the gun problem and the violence problem. Mental health is always an answer. But you must look at this, Lou, and say, like, is there a real commitment to improve the infrastructure? You've worked in this field your whole life.
Yeah.
Do you think there is that commitment?
On the positive side, we did see the legislature give us an increase in our rates last year, and for that we're very grateful. So I want to make sure that I underline that. But at the same time, I think it's important to understand that, in general, the commitment to health care for the poor is less than I wish it was.
Yeah. Lou Zeidner is the CEO of EOSIS, a huge behavioral health and addiction treatment organization here in Minnesota. So how do you, because I as much as I'm on a nonprofit board, I'm on the board of Second Harvest Heartland. We are very concerned about sort of this general feeling that, nonprofits are just looking to rip off the taxpayer. And I know I can speak for the organization I'm on the board. We have invested quite a bit of money in making sure we have auditing, making sure we're on the up and up. How does an organization like yours, I guess, how do you sort of prove it in a way to Minnesota taxpayers who are like, hey, we're sick of getting burned?
Right. And I think part of it, what differentiates mental health and addiction from some of the other examples that we're reading about in the media right now in terms of fraud, is that we have very strict licensure, both for our clinicians and for our facilities. So we have regular audits by Department of Health, DHS, and the regulations that we comply with are very strict. I think some of the areas of fraud that have been talked about were good ideas that were very early in their development, and they didn't have the level of regulation, the level of licensure that we're talking about for SUD. In terms of what we do is
Lou, I just want to stop you for a second, because this is the part of this whole scenario where I think people who work in the highly regulated area that you do, don't you look at some of this stuff, some of these programs, that these social services kind of checks that were being handed out, and think, like, how in the hell do these checks get handed out to these people when you got to jump through 10,000 hoops to get legitimate services reimbursed?
I think it has to raise that question, and my sense is people have a good idea. They want to fund that good idea, and sometimes it takes a while, years at times, to get the structure around the idea that allows for the checks and balances that we need. We've been around for a long time doing substance use, doing mental health care, and there's a lot of regulation, and every year there's more regulation that we see.
EOSIS is an addiction and mental health treatment services specialist. You guys are all over the state?
Correct. From East Grand Forks to Owatonna, from Stillwater to Waverly.
When you look at the number one concern that keeps you up at night, what is it?
It's access, and it's the perception that mental health care in general doesn't work.
Interesting.
And I think part of it is similar to medical conditions. It's not like a light switch that you turn the switch and now they're better.
Can't cure it.
You can't cure it with a simple implementation, and so it takes time. And there are many psychosocial issues, housing, food insecurity, safety, all kinds of issues that intersect with mental health and addiction. And so when you see people who have multiple treatments, it's not treatment failures necessarily, it's treatment evolution, and they're evolving through their mental health or substance use issues, much like you might go for multiple treatments if you had cancer. You might go for multiple treatments if you had a heart disease, and that's true for mental health and addiction as well.
Very interesting, that idea that And you can get a little bit why people think that way, where it's like, is this sort of mental health therapy? You're just trying to get like another, it's never solved. So you got to come back for another visit, another billing, another visit, another billing. Yeah. Terrible. I'm sure for people who work in this system and your team, who nobody's getting rich over there working in mental health.
No. And the reality is, people didn't develop these challenges overnight.
Right.
And they're not going to go away overnight. And sometimes it takes multiple iterations of care to get there.
Lou Zeidner is the CEO of EOSIS. As legislators sort of, whenever you're dealing with political stuff, it's always, the political games that go on. If you could give one message to the legislators in Minnesota this term, what would you ask them?
When you create legislation, write the legislation very carefully. Oftentimes the ambiguity in the legislation, because legislators are generalists. Of
course, yeah.
They deal with a lot
It's
of
like
issues.
me. I'm not going to come up with a mental health or an addiction policy. I don't know.
So they have a general concept, and they try to put it in words. And then DHS or the Department of Health tries to implement that. And then we as providers try to follow it. And the more specific they can be in their intent, the better we get in terms of knowing what their intent was and following it.
It's really interesting. Lou, we're appreciative of you and all of your team. I know it's thankless work, it's hard work, and you hope, I think, especially those of us who are parents, we hope that, we never need it or our kids never need it, but knowing that you guys are doing the work, I'm just very grateful for it.
Thanks. And we're all one job loss away from needing Medicaid.
Yeah, that's true. It is the danger of when you sort of say, all right, we got so much wrong with the system, we got to stop the whole system. I think you make the argument for a more surgical approach and saying like, yeah, please, because you need the funding. Like, let's fix the things that are wrong, but let's not throw out the whole bit.
Exactly.
Lou Zeidner with us here on CCO. We'll break in a minute. Old school hobbies are coming back. Do you believe this? Are young people really turning to knitting and, well, I'll tell you some of this other stuff. Blacksmithing? Is this a trend story run amok, or is this real? We'll talk about it when we come back.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, it's Adam Carter here, inviting you to join me November 30th to explore tropical Costa Rica with Colette. We'll stay in the Monteverde Cloud Forest, a place you have to see to believe, where trees grow to heights of 100 feet and the wildlife is abundant from butterflies to sloths. Enjoy breathtaking views in Nature's Museum. Visit a coffee plantation to learn the history from the bean all the way to the cup. Plus, relax in a resort on the most beautiful beach of Guanacaste. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details, flights, meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Do not miss out. Meet me and the folks from Colette on Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park to learn more. Call Colette at 866-436-6734 or visit WCCOradio.com for details. Let's go to Costa Rica.
Staples has got hot deals and super low prices on everything for your business. And right now, brand your business at Staples with up to 30% off custom labels. Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app. Ends 4/18. Visit staples.com/print for details.
I fixed my furnace, Holly. Just needed a zip tie, some gum, and duct tape, of course.
Or you could get a real fix from Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. $59 tune-up, 0% financing available. Let Apollo handle it. Visit us at callapollo.com.
Taking one of those instant cash offers for your home is easy, but if you take it, you're missing out on tens of thousands of dollars. Hi, it's Vanita. It's easy to learn what your home is worth. The John Schuster Group with Coldwell Banker Realty will tell you for free online in seconds. Chances are your home is worth more than those instant offers. The Good Neighbor agent can help you sell it fast for way more money. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber with a special message for any local business owner looking to diversify your income.
Amazon Hub Delivery is making it easy to earn extra money. When you partner with Amazon Hub Delivery, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area. With each package delivered, you'll gain extra income and exposure for your business. There's no upfront cost, no delivery experience, and no long-term contracts required. Get started today at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store for your no-obligation custom fitting. The Good Feet Arch support system is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Call 855-554-3338 or stop by our locations in Roseville, Maple Grove, Burnsville, and Woodbury.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Step into pain relief.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Want consistent color for every job? Milo's Pro Rewards members get a 20% paint discount on future purchases after paint annual qualifying spend reaches $3,000. Plus, order eligible in-stock paint and paint supplies by 2 p.m. for free same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Improving is easy at Lowe's. Excludes spray paint and mist tints. More exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Subject to change. Details at Lowes.com/terms. Same-day delivery valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. Details at Lowes.com/same-day delivery.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
You can find the stall that was causing problems south 169 and Highway 55 has been taken care of. Still some slowing though as you come down from Medicine Lake Road. Northbound seeing slowdowns as you come between Highway 7 and Highway 55. 35W northbound jammed up into Minneapolis as you move past Lake Street. Over on the east side, you're going to find things running pretty good for Highway 52 either direction between 94 and 494. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters presents Guys and Dolls, a high-rolling musical spectacle packed with iconic songs and dazzling dance numbers. Don't miss this Tony Award-winning Best Musical, Guys and Dolls. Tickets at chanhassendt.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Oh, the rain has started. Tubbsy, a little rain in downtown Minneapolis, and your walk in, little light rain. Little light rain. Little misting. Ooh, a lovely mist. A little bit of light snow to the north as well. The radar's active. It's going to be busy tonight. Snow. More in Wisconsin. Winter weather advisory there. Low at 28. Tomorrow, the high is 39. Thursday, high is 46. Cold on Friday as well. Yeah, you know, spring wasn't going to stick around, everybody. We can dream, can't we? It's 41 in Osseo and CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH.
This sounds like torture to me.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
On that first night, she was golden with firelight and fear.
So anything that gets young people off their phones is probably a win. But an AP story just was published today that alleges that young people are knitting, crocheting, gardening, and blacksmithing, even blacksmithing. Old school hobbies are back. Old school hobbies are back.
The analog hobbies, I like to call them. No screens.
I 0% believe that this is happening. I believe the same amount of people who always were doing these sorts of analog things. Because give me a break. Are you trying to tell me that there was no, like, nerdy crocheting girl over the last 5 years?
No.
Of course there were.
Of course there were.
So,
but that doesn't mean there's not an increase.
How would we possibly know?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming there's some sort of polling data that indicates this.
No, I used
also,
to work in the media.
anecdotally,
You find two people, and then you write a story about how A lot of people.
Don't tell them that part.
There's a lot of word on the street.
I mean, anecdotal doesn't prove anything.
Numbers are hard to come by in this area, but
the number of people that I know that have gotten blacksmithing, that was the one that made me scratch my head a little bit. That seems a bit of a stretch. But I mean, we're not necessarily a blacksmithing state, but I mean, a lot of people around here are knitting and crocheting and doing that sort of thing. And it feels, whether that's real or not, it definitely feels like it's increased.
I would like to hear from any of our listeners who the kids are blacksmithing. A little more extra.
That would be something.
Now, Texter says my 14-year-old niece is a great crocheter.
Yeah.
I believe it. I'm just saying, I think there always were people doing these analog things. It's just cool now. It's cool to the millennials who are working for the Associated Press.
Because everything else in their life revolves around a screen, and here's finally something that does.
Like, oh, this is neat. I think it's getting needlepoint. That's good. I don't know. I need an old school hobby, Dan.
How can you grow your business from idea to industry leader? With smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Proud to be the voice of the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. This is News Talk 830 WCCO, 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Gas prices are surging in the U.S., with motorists paying about 20% more per gallon than before the start of the war. This Rogers, Arkansas driver is feeling the pain.
Honestly, I don't really even look at the price anymore. It's kind of depressing, so I just get it as I need it,
There's no movement on tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and the White House says there was no escorting of a tanker by the U.S. Navy, as posted online by the U.S. Energy Secretary, and then quickly taken down. The White House says the U.S.-led war against Iran is moving ahead of schedule. CBS's Linda Kenyon has more.
The initial timeline was 4 to 6 weeks. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the end of the war is within reach.
Ultimately, the operations will end when the commander-in-chief determines the military objectives have been met, fully realized, and that Iran is in a position of complete and unconditional surrender.
But what is unconditional surrender?
When they no longer pose a credible and direct threat to the United States of America and our allies.
Adding Iran doesn't have to actually say it unconditionally surrenders. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
The Pentagon has released the number of American service members wounded in attacks since the start of the war with Iran. CBS's Cammie McCormick has that.
A Pentagon spokesman says about 140 service members have been wounded in attacks since the start of the war. The majority sustained minor injuries and have already returned to duty. 8 service members are considered severely injured. The spokesman said they're receiving the highest level of medical care.
Voters in Northwest Georgia's 14th congressional district are going to the polls to cast their votes in the special election to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress. There are 17 candidates on the ballot, 12 Republicans, 3 Democrats, 1 independent, and 1 libertarian. Former District Attorney Clay Fuller is one of the Republican candidates.
Obviously, the president's endorsement makes all the difference in the world in Georgia 14. So we're just making sure that we're reminding voters throughout this campaign and throughout today that we're the Trump-endorsed candidate.
Tia Mitchell of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Sean Harris, the Democrat, is likely to make it to a runoff, but a Democrat is not likely to win the seat in the end.
The top two candidates will face off in an April 7th runoff election. Shots are fired at the U.S. consulate in downtown Toronto. It happened early this morning. No one was hurt, no arrests. Toronto's Deputy Police Chief Frank Barreto says a white Honda CR-V may have been used in the shooting.
2 individuals emerged from the vehicle, discharged at what appears to be a handgun at the front of the building, and then got back into their vehicle and drove southbound.
U.S. home sales rose in February as home buyers seized on easing mortgage rates. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at jtv.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy and 42 degrees at 4:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. Governor Tim Walz unveiling his plan today to modernize the state's human services system in an effort to address fraud and modernize the system. Delivering social services, Walz says one of the key changes would be shifting eligibility determination from counties to the state in 2020, adding that the system has grown too complex for the necessary oversight.
It has been difficult, and especially for the counties, to be able to administer those correctly. And so it comes down to it. I would tell you it is both the complexity of it, and you've seen the other pieces of this, outdated technology. The Maxis system is grossly outdated.
The plan calls for eliminating the use of managed care organizations in the Medicaid program. Charges now filed following a deadly weekend hit and run that left a Bloomington woman dead. 58-year-old Rolando Miranda Martinez faces one count of leaving the scene of a collision resulting in the death after allegedly striking and killing 40-year-old Leslie Youngberg around 2 a.m. Saturday at the intersection of Cliff Road and Nichols Road in Eagan. Surveillance footage led police to Miranda Martinez's vehicle that was reportedly damaged in the front. He told police he hit something that jumped out at him and admitted to leaving the scene. He also told investigators he was coming home from a Minneapolis bar but denied drinking. Court records show Miranda Martinez has previous drunk driving convictions. If you're planning to travel over the coming weeks, you'll need to prepare for an increase in the cost of airfare as the war in Iran continues to put pressure on fuel prices.
The Thrifty Traveler's Kyle Potter says the impact on local ticket prices will likely be determined by how quickly the conflict could resolve ahead of the spring break travel rush.
The concern is that the longer this drags on, the bigger impact it's going to have on flights across the board, and everybody has a breaking point. Airlines need people to fill those seats, and you can only ask people for so much.
He says for now, Minnesota's airport checkpoints have not yet seen the significant delays reported at other major hubs during the ongoing partial government shutdown, even as TSA agents work without pay. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830, WCCO.
All those temperatures in the 50s and 60s are taking a short break in the Twin Cities metro with 3 separate storms expected to bring snow into the region. The first 2 are expected to have minimal accumulation. There is a third storm expected to drop some heavy snow over the weekend. WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It looks like it's kicking the system down into northern Iowa. That could change, and it will change. It will either keep trending south or it might wing back up toward us.
Any snow that falls for the rest of the week is expected to be wet and heavy snow. It's 4:06. Traffic and weather on the way.
Find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Moved off to the right shoulder, South 35W, 106th Street. State Patrol is pulling up to it now. Activity off to the right side. Slowdowns as moved down from 98th Street. Traveling South 35W, some slowing through downtown Minneapolis. Up on the north side, 694 eastbound, seeing congestion. Silver Lake Road to Highway 10. And it looks like we may have some debris in the traffic lanes. North 169 near Highway 610. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830, WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Gutman Law, wills, trust, and probate law. Visit gutmanlaw.com. Here's Chris Schaefer.
Snow will be falling and accumulating as we pass through the night tonight. 1 to 3 inches possible in the Twin Cities. It will be a wet snow, a lot of it melting on contact, but eventually accumulating. Expect more snow across the St. Croix and western Wisconsin, where there's a winter weather advisory. Clouds will be clearing out tomorrow, only a high of 39, which is average this time of year. Another round of rain to snow late on Thursday. This one will be lighter.
Cloudy and 42 at Newstalk 830 WCCO.
Let's be honest, it's a lot cheaper than therapy.
Robert, tell me more about your feelings.
Talk it out. Here, Newstalk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, here's Jason DeRUSH.
All right, a little bit of rain out there. Did any of you guys get fooled by the false spring, the fake spring? I don't think so. You guys know better than that. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Mark Fry is with us. Dan Cook as well. We finished the last segment talking about old school hobbies. And we're gonna do a segment on this because, first of all, I get a text from a guy whose son is a blacksmith. His son, like in Cottage Grove. So you got his son watched a YouTuber 8 years ago and started blacksmithing to take a break from online gaming. Another texter says, 2 of my sons, 25 and 27, both crochet and knit. My 29-year-old son is taking blacksmithing classes. Maybe I'm too cynical on this. Maybe the young people do crave a break from devices. I don't know. I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of us crave a break from devices, but taking that break and then going next step to learning an old school hobby is sort of amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Lots of discussion and about restaurants in the Twin Cities and money and the cost of going out to eat. Yesterday we talked about how David Fima's restaurant in downtown Minneapolis at City Center had closed down. There was a news story last night that followed up on a story we talked about last week that the North Loop restaurant Dario was reaching out and saying, like, hey, I know you guys think we're this hot, trendy, newish restaurant, but we're in trouble. We're in trouble. It's been 2 months, and Fima's isn't going to be the last big name we hear of restaurants that are closing. And whenever we talk about this, the reaction is, to me, very understandable, where people say, we just can't afford it. We just can't afford it. Going out to eat, going out to drink is just too expensive. 651-461-9226. Are you going out less? Have you changed your behavior because things are just too dang expensive? It is, I will say I have not. Well, that's not true. That's not true. We go out as much, but we don't have dessert as often. We don't order a second drink as often because stuff is just too expensive. What's tricky is to the restaurants, like I'll say, we went out last night and it's, Monday night, frankly, even in the North Loop, there are a lot of restaurants that just aren't open on a Monday night. And that's sort of how things have changed post-COVID. Restaurants that used to be open 7 days a week are now open 5. And I'm fine with that. Like, you know what? It's not my God-given right to go out to eat 7 days a week. So restaurants have to do whatever they need to do. But I don't know where the point is that this comes together. Where you say, okay, if I'm running a restaurant, like maybe I'm not charging enough to cover my costs. And if I'm a regular person, I can't afford this. Like Audrey, who's watching our live stream on YouTube, says, unfortunately, yes, we have curtailed our going out for dinner and or drinks. If we do, we look at happy hour menus and pricing. I have a feeling we're going to see a massive number of restaurants throughout Minnesota closing in the next couple of months. And some of it, I think, is the economy. Some of it is sort of accepting reality that, maybe some of these businesses were hoping, like the workers are going to come back to the office. We're going to see a return. We're not. None of this is coming back, at least not in the near future. What we got is what we got. And so you're seeing restaurants when the lease comes up, they're saying, like, I can't sign another lease. And even if the rent is low, I can't afford the maintenance of the upkeep and the cost for the online reservation system and the website and the on and on and on. Is it too expensive, or are there other reasons that you've changed your behavior? 651-461-9226. Texters ask, are the same issues plaguing restaurants in the suburbs? If not, there's your answer. Need to rebrand Minneapolis back to what it was before 2018. I think restaurants in the suburbs are feeling some of this, but not a ton. And I don't know that going out to eat in the suburbs, it's cheaper. If you go to a chain restaurant, it's cheaper. But I don't know that like a suburban sports bar is necessarily significantly cheaper than what you see in the city. My wife and I are top 1% earners, says a 612er, and we still wince at prices on menus. Yeah, I think that's right. It's hard because I think, last week I visited a restaurant in Robbinsdale that just opened up today. No, Monday was their first day. It's called Risata, R-I-S-A-T-A. And they said that they're intentionally, they made a wine list where the wine is like $9, $10, $11, $12 per glass. And some of you, depending on where you live, you're like, well, that's what wine is. But let me tell you, in the first-ring suburbs and in the cities, to see a wine list where most everything is under $13, you're like, whoa, that's cheap. I do think if you're going to survive as a restaurant, you got to figure it out. Because these costs, just nobody can afford to go out. Yeah, you can do it once a week or twice a month. But that's max. Maybe once a week is even overstating it. I office in the North Loop. Used to be down at Freehouse 2 to 3 times a week for lunch 2 and 3 years ago. Now maybe it's once a quarter, and it's because of the cost, says a texter. Yeah. I think prices are a part of it, but it's also parking, it's safety, and it's just convenience. I do think convenience, that's what I can't tell. Is it the convenience? Because you look at, and the texter says, you look at a place like Malone's in Maple Grove, which is always busy. It's so convenient. Texter says many new restaurant options in Albertville, St. Michael, which is true. Why? Because I think it's easy. You pull in, you park, you walk in, and maybe you don't care as much as the cost. Lots of texts. I can't justify $30 a plate for standard fare. Yeah. Rather pay double or triple for an amazing time a few times a year than every other week. I think that's right. Very good. Appreciate it, everybody. Lou Raguse has a new book, a real True crime story. Fascinating story of obsession, of survival, of justice. Lou will join us in just a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
When you are looking to look good, where do you go? Where do you go for help? It's Jason. The answer is J.H. & Sons for me. J.H. & Sons is an absolutely unbelievable operation. Great people, years of experience, and they will make you look amazing. I want you, first step, go join their mailing list. You'll be the first to know when, like, the new spring stuff is in, summer stuff, sales, exclusive offers just for you. Go to jhandsons.com to sign up for that email list. And then, if we're going to have a snowy, cold kind of weekend, why don't you head on out to the Galleria? The Galleria in Edina is where J.H. & Sons is headquartered, their Twin Cities location. And their family has been getting it done here in Minnesota for more than 50 years. Halberstadt's is iconic in St. Cloud. It's huge in Sioux Falls. And the next generation, J.H. & Sons, they're building something special, and they want you to be a part of it. You're going to want to. Experience the service, experience the difference, and then let me know how it goes. J.H. & Sons at the Galleria.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store for your no-obligation custom fitting. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Call 855-554-3338 or stop by our locations in Roseville, Maple Grove, Burnsville, and Woodbury.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Step into pain relief.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a cybersecurity engineer at a publicly traded company.
We've been hacked! They're through our firewall!
How is that even possible?
They got my password.
Please don't tell me your password was password.
It's actually password 1.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce. Pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I.
He is one of our best journalists, certainly in the electronic medium on TV. Lou Raguse from Care 11. I've known him since he was just a little college kid, and look at you now, Lou. Look at you now.
The stories you could tell, Jason. My friends and I. Just troublemakers at the U of M. We call ourselves the news team.
That's right. You've got a couple of, you got Kent Erdahl. He was part of that group of troublemakers back in the day.
Yep.
Oh.
Don't forget Scoop.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you had quite a group. It was quite a group. All right, Lou Raguse with us at the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline because his new book was just released today. Can I play the little trailer that you have on your website?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, take a listen to a preview of Mastermind.
Who is shot? Where's the victim? First name Nikki, gunshot wound to the neck.
Bang, bang, and then ran off up here. Whoever did that knows she was coming to pick up a kid at 7:30.
Okay. Are you Jennifer, sir? Yeah.
It is an unbelievably dramatic story that you have presented now in this book that's available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is called Mastermind. Tell us what the story is about, Lou.
Well, the story that I covered at Care 11 involved the shooting of Nikki Lenway, who was a crime scene investigator for the Minneapolis Police Department. when she was off duty picking up her son at a supervised parenting center, she was ambushed and shot. And so the key suspect would be her vengeful ex, whose name is Tim Amaker, tells everyone that his name is Atlas. However, he's inside that parenting center with an ironclad alibi because he's having one of those supervised visits. And so it was an intriguing case about the plot that we covered, unveiling who the actual shooter was and covering the court cases. But what makes it such a good book is everything that came before the shooting. When I went to the courthouse, to look for court documents to cover the shooting case, I found a complete custody case file, as well as orders for protection and other things like that. It was an incredibly controlling relationship that to people on the outside, they just had no idea. They had no idea that Nikki was going through this. People had no idea that Atlas was really like this. And there was so much more there to tell. And so I stayed in contact with Nikki after the trials were over. And eventually she said that she wanted to tell her story. She thought it could help other people out there that are in controlling relationships.
Lou Raguse is our guest. The book is called Mastermind. You found all of these fake police reports and CPS reports, internal affairs, all these reports. Like, that's sort of the intrigue here, right? Like the lead up, all of this information that you have laid out in the book, that is what builds the drama. And I suppose that's part of why Nikki wanted to tell you the story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, at the very end, when somebody's already charged with attempted murder, the public might assume, well, if they're charged with attempted murder, there's a good chance that they probably did
it, right?
And anything that came before it is like, yeah, who would ever believe that? But when you're in the moment, Atlas was able to get people to believe him, people in power. Mm-hmm. There was a CPS worker for Dakota County who knocked on Nikki's door on Christmas Eve and took her son away when he was only 4 years old so that he couldn't spend Christmas with his mom because of a lie that Tim Amaker told, and he found somebody willing to believe it.
Wow.
That's how scary it is. And so she was constantly under the microscope, having to prove that she's innocent along the way, because of course you have to take a claim of child abuse seriously. And the claims got even more demented, eventually claiming not just child abuse, but child sexual abuse against Nikki and her new boyfriend, who is now her husband. And so these false claims could have had, very, very serious consequences. And what Nikki talks about to me is that, at the very end, thankfully, very few women end up the target of a attempted murder plot. But earlier along the way, there are many women out there that are in this controlling relationship where somebody is not letting go. And so she's hoping that telling the story literally like this, people can see where they're at or a family member is at and get help sooner.
Lou Raguse is with us. Lou, when you first covered this story, did you have a sense for like how deep it would be, how much you would learn?
Well, one thing that really interested me, and this is a slight spoiler, but it's not going to ruin the book, is that the shooter ended up being Atlas's new girlfriend, who was a former Taekwondo student of his, because he was a well-respected Taekwondo instructor in White Bear Lake. And the question I had was like, was this young woman basically brainwashed by him? Like, there was kind of that kind of intrigue was going on at the time. My opinion on that is a little bit different. He certainly groomed her to an extent, having that influence over her ever since she was such a young teen. But at the time of the crime, she was 24 years old. She had a degree from St. Thomas. She was old enough to know the difference from right and wrong. But she just believed everything that he said. He had that much influence over her that she seemed to truly believe all these false stories of abuse and everything that he basically fed her along the way to get her to do what he wanted. And she was under his spell as far as love goes. And he apparently, had a way with women.
Yeah. Yeah. And, You have studied enough of this. Do you believe her? Do you believe her that she really was groomed in this way?
Well, when I say that, I don't mean it as an excuse. I just mean it that he had influence. She looked up to him ever since she was 13 years old. There was an age gap.
He had this charisma, though.
He did. He was. I found plenty of people that liked him and couldn't believe that he would do something like this.
Huh.
I mean, he was a popular guy. He was a great dancer, like a break dancer. I heard stories of him and his breakdancing crew like clearing the dance floor at the state fair, at the International Bazaar, and just like getting the entire crowd to come in and start dancing with him. So there's all these stories of this charisma and why he has this magnetic personality. Everyone wanted to join his at his gym. He ran a fitness class that everyone wanted to be a part of. It had like a cult following. But people don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And the amount of mental control that he was able to exert over Nikki during this relationship, and she grew up in a great family, had a great job. You just can't use stereotypes to think of like who would fall for this and who wouldn't. It's just it could affect anyone.
Yeah, and I suppose that's that is the compelling part where you understand. In these cases, I don't know. You always wonder like, why does the person want to tell their story? Why would you want if you're Nikki Lenway? Like, do you want to revisit this time in your life, and then do you want to have this book, this whole thing about you? Don't you want to just move on? But she really felt this draw to make a difference, right?
Yeah, that was it. And it took, she didn't say yes immediately. It was, several months after I proposed the idea. But I think that she sees this as part of her life story. Like it's a complicated thing because she doesn't regret being with Atlas to the point that she has this son that she loves, that they had together. She would never want for that not to happen. But
yeah.
I think that she saw several points where, she could have left and chose not to because she's trying to see the best in people, believing people can change, all the kind of things that you hear. And I think just laying it all out there, a lot of people could see it like, oh, I'm maybe right here where Nikki was, in month 9 of her relationship with Atlas, where he, ruined this trip to Las Vegas by throwing things in the hotel room, and they couldn't leave the hotel room because he was being violent and they didn't want anyone to know about it. Just all these little anecdotes add up to a really big thing. And at the time, it was just a bunch of little things in her mind. And she was also gaslit to believe that it was her fault, that she was causing problems that caused him to be angry.
Huh. Such a fascinating story, right? You think about these various stories that you end up covering for Care 11 over the years. And of course, we had you on talking about your first book, Vanished in Vermilion. And some of these stories that just as a TV reporter, they're kind of here today, gone tomorrow. I think like what a gift that you've been able to sort of hang on and really develop some of these stories.
Right. And regarding abuse, it was a light bulb moment for me early in my reporting career because, starting out in a smaller market in Sioux Falls, it might have been Domestic Abuse Awareness Month or something like that. And, it was like this woman agreed to do an interview on the topic as long as we didn't show her face and it was all in shadow, and there really wasn't like a story to it. It was just her talking about her experience with abuse. And as a young reporter, and I didn't have, any of that experience in my life, it was, I'm learning about this stuff as we go.
Right.
I couldn't believe the reaction from that story that really didn't have like news content to it. It wasn't based off of any particular thing that happened. We got emails and we got calls, and it was, thanks for Susan telling her story, and all this thing.
Right,
I maybe I can get out of my bad relationship too. If I can have that strength. It was a light bulb moment to me that abuse and control is so underreported. It's going on so much more than people know because, there's families involved and you're not reporting, a bad guy in your mind. You're reporting your husband or your partner or whatever. And so it's a more difficult thing. And so having that element to this whole story, that's really kind of what drew me in, to be able to flesh it out like that.
Lou Raguse is with us. One final question, Lou, before you go, and people can get the book. You can get it at Amazon, or if they go to your website, louraguse.com, they can get all of the links to order this thing. digital for your Kindle or the hardcover, whatever. When you look at the whole system, did the system work for Nikki? I mean, you know, there were convictions, there are people locked up, but do you think the system worked?
Well, that's a great question because on the back end, absolutely, Minneapolis police did a phenomenal job. Hennepin County Attorney's Office was brilliant in their prosecution, which actually was a very difficult legal case, you know, because it involved conspiracy and a plot. But on the front end, child protection did not, it was terrible. I mean, like the fact that Nikki thought that she had a false report, deemed as not credible, and all of a sudden another report is, why can't you say, just look at the last report? It's a pattern of lying. But no, every single time she had to go through it again and again and again. And it was just relentless. Atlas would go to internal affairs at the Minneapolis Police Department where she worked and make false reports about her there. So then she had to go before internal affairs and defend herself at her job. And probably the most egregious one was there was a city prosecutor in White Bear Lake that actually charged her with assault because Atlas claimed that several months earlier she ran over his foot on purpose when they're doing a child swap, and there was very little evidence, but she had to go on trial, could have lost her job for that, could have lost her child, could have lost custody for that. Luckily, the jury saw right through it, found her not guilty in 5 minutes, and the judge ended up sealing up the case to get it away from the public, so it wouldn't hurt her name anymore.
Still, though, my gosh, right?
It's incredible, the trouble that she had with the system for about 10 years until finally, in the very end, it did right by her.
Lou Raguse, congratulations on the book being out in the wild. I know that's a cool feeling after you have been working so hard on that in between coaching your kids and youth sports and all, and covering fraud and breaking stories left and right for Care 11. But really great work, and I can't wait to read it.
Thanks so much, Jason. I'll get you and Dan your copies there shortly.
Very good. Lou Raguse with us on CCO. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Second book out there. Hell of a reporter. Really good stuff. Let's break in just a minute. A very special guest on DeRUSH Eats, a chef who found out in the peak, her career's on the way up. Things are going great. She had cancer. Cancer in a way that would make it almost impossible to be a chef. We'll tell that story when we come back.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you have doubts about your retirement readiness, listen to the Retirement Reality Report with Mark Dillon and David Linsky of L3 Family Wealth Partners. Join the Linskys Saturday mornings at 11 right here on WCCO.
Chad back here with you on CCO. I want to talk insurance and the group I have trusted for 30 years. Not just me. My father, my boys, we have been with Amber Scholl and Associates the entire time. They are with American Family, and trust is the right word. When something awful happens with your business or your home or your car, you need people who are available. You need individuals who have a team, and they've handled every situation. Amber and her team have done that. Let's be honest. Insurance rates are complicated. You need someone who knows this business in all ways, and I wouldn't be with Amber for 30 years unless I totally believed in her. Call today, 651-738-4811, and tell me you heard this spot from Chad on CCO.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Swisey menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
We all have different skills, things that make us unique. In the Minnesota Army National Guard, we combine all that towards a common mission, serving our home. I'm Staff Sergeant Caden Murphy from Hawley. We know strength isn't found alone. It comes when all of us fight for the same goal. When that goal is protecting what matters most, there's nothing stronger. What will you bring to help us build that strength? Go to nationalguard.com/Minnesota to see how you can get started today.
Paid for by the Minnesota Army National Guard. Brought to you by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for East 694 Matterhorn heading out toward Lexington Avenue. 10 westbound jamming up, County Road 96, 235W. Highway 36 eastbound, some slowing from Cleveland Avenue heading over to Lexington Avenue there. USPS Ground Advantage reliable route is 694, flowing nicely both directions between 35W and Highway 36. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Dan Cook. Great job, Dan. Thank you for everything. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
3 rounds of snow in the next several days. The first one hits tonight. We could see 1 to 3 inches by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. A winter weather advisory for those listening in western Wisconsin, where you could see a little more snow. 28 the overnight low, only a high of 39 on a breezy day. We'll see some sunshine, but it's going to feel pretty raw out there. Another round of rain to snow late on Thursday. That will be lighter, and we're still keeping an eye on a system that could bring some heavy snow this weekend.
Right now, a little bit of light, misty drizzle throughout the metro area in downtown Minneapolis. It is 41 degrees, but the wind is unpleasant. Feels like 30 here on CCO.
Drive time with DeRUSH.
Please call into the Jason DeRUSH show.
Let's go.
If you have something to say to the people of Minnesota, say it on the radio.
On News Talk 830 WCCO. DeRUSH. He has the eats.
Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like your favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard. Drive Time now transitions into DeRUSH Eats.
And DeRUSH Eats is brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board. Today we have a special guest in studio because she is in town helping to raise money for the American Cancer Society. It's a fundraiser called Taste of Hope, Twin Cities. And Chef Shirley Chung is with us in studio. Shirley, it's so great to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure so mine. Hi. Nice to be here.
Your story and your involvement with the American Cancer Society is so personal. And it's a story you never expected would be coming your way, right? And some of our listeners may know you from Top Chef. You were a frequent participant in the Top Chef TV show. But take me back to not too long ago, 2025, right?
24.
24 is when you were diagnosed.
June of 2024, as a chef, I was diagnosed with stage 4 tongue cancer. I mean, I was actually thinking that I was at my career height. Just won multiple cooking competition on Food Network, and have restaurants and concepts all over America. I was as the dumpling queen of Los Angeles. I was getting branding deal and collaboration with major corporates. So I was definitely thinking that I was on top of the world. And I had this tooth infection. That's what I thought. That's been bothering me on and off for like 6 months. Been going to the dentist.
So that tooth infection was really buggy.
Yeah, but we just didn't know by then that I had a hidden tumor under the right side of my tongue. And that was actually causing all the inflammation and infection and pain and trauma. And not until, so I was getting implants and extractions and thinking it was from me grinding my teeth too hard because I'm a teeth grinder. That's the way that I de-stress. And then fast forward to the night before my diagnosis, the tumor in my mouth erupted. So I was waking up with excruciating pain and coughing and blood. And went to my oral surgeon right away. And at that moment, he realized it's actually oral cancer. And I was be able to see an oncologist the following week, which I was very happy and very lucky in that way.
Yeah.
Everybody know a lot of times to see an oncologist will take a month. But I was very fortunate. My oral surgeon was a personal friend with Cedars-Sinai oncologist, so he was be able to get me a appointment right away. And my tumor was moving very fast and progressed extremely at the speed that everybody was very concerned. So by the time, so I was diagnosed as tongue cancer right away when I saw an oncologist.
So they knew right away that it was tongue cancer.
It was bad. It was
bad.
The tumor took over my right tongue, and then by the time I started getting MRI and PET scan, 3 days later, which was also unheard of, the tumor already crossed the middle line. That's what they call. So from my right side, crossed over to the left side.
So that's how big it was.
It was fast.
And you could feel it, that it was happening?
Yes, I lost ability of speech. I couldn't swallow. I just couldn't use my mouth at all.
Was it scary?
Yes, but at the same time that I was probably in denial because I'm like, I'm so healthy. I never feel, I always have so much energy. I don't really see doctors that often other than usually physical. So there's no way I have tongue cancer. And if I do, I'll be the one that can beat it. So that's always has to be my mentality, which every single my doctor and oncologist always thought I was crazy. But my oncologist recognized me right away. He is my regular that goes to my restaurant.
Oh, he went to your restaurant. So your restaurant in LA was called Ms. G.
Ms. G Cafe, and we're a dumpling house that my restaurant was his daughter and wife's favorite. So like when I walked in, I didn't know who he was, but he recognized me right away. And then saying, Chef Chung, I'm so sorry. So knowing that he really wants to save my career and also me being television, so being on television, so he knows that tongue speaking and eating and everything is very important for me. So when he has to tell me my treatment plan, and I think it almost broke him. He so after I got all my scan back, within a week, he told me that I was stage 4. And I really had to get on a treatment plan right away. Otherwise, I would not live. And at that moment that he told me my chance of living is 50%. And my treatment plan, he gave me 3 treatment plans. The first one was 100% removal of my tongue. And then followed by possibility of radiation and chemo. Second one is start with chemo first, try to shrink the tumor, and then removal of my tongue. And then the first treatment, he called it a unicorn case or an outlander case. It was performed in University of Chicago. And then it happened that as a chef, our community, we all knew the story. Chef Frank Atkins, that was 18 years ago that he was also diagnosed with tongue cancer, but he chose a different route, alternative route that treating with radiation and chemo only, no surgery. So he got to keep his tongue. And as a chef, from industry, I want to say growing up in this industry that we all knew the story. So I was very okay in a way. I was very calm when I got my first diagnosis. But when my oncologist told me about a treatment plan, and that's when I felt like the end of the world. Like I cannot imagine a world without tongue. Because not only as a chef, tongue is part of our everyday life, it's our tool, but I always like to tell people that I'm an eater first before I'm a chef. My love of food started as I love to eat. And that's why I changed my career in my late 20s from working in the Silicon Valley in high-tech industry, changed to become a chef because being a chef is really my passion. And food and eat is really my passion. And now I understand that be a part of, if this is your passion, that you have to be able to take the burden that comes with passion. And now I feel like, okay, I'm passionate about food. I'm passionate about eating. I'm passionate about cooking. I'm passionate about my career. I'm passionate about being a chef. And the fact that I will not be able to do that, it was just crushed me. But I'm a chef. I probably had that moment of freak out, but I always like to tell people that I work very well. Actually, I work better under stress. So after that moment, I immediately reached out to Chef Frank Atkins.
Oh, yeah. The chef from Alinea in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And it was...
Same cancer?
Same cancer. She's the one that we always knew. So it was Sunday night, 10 p.m. in California. I texted Chef Frank, and then he texted me right away back within 5 minutes. And told me that stay calm and really look at this as one of the worst days in the kitchen. Write down your prep list, attack one task at a time, take one day at a time, and I will see the end of the light. Because we're chefs, we got this. And the team at University of Chicago had 17 years of experience already. They hired him 17 years ago. So he was very confident that I would be able to cure. And so Chef Ren and also my oncologist from Cedars-Sinai in LA all reached out to University of Chicago. So again, I was extremely lucky. So I was get to be seen by the same doctor that treated Chef Ren 17 years ago.
All right, Shirley, hang on 1 second. Chef Shirley Chung is our guest. We're going to break. We'll come back because obviously she's here. She's here to raise money to help draw attention to cancer research because her story has it's not over, but her cancer journey has a good ending. And we'll talk about that when we come back on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
So this morning, I went to my local independent small grocery store in St. Paul, and I went in the back at Tim and Tom Speedy to go and get some Minnesota pork. It's Jason here for our friends at the Minnesota Pork Board. You know how I love Minnesota pork. And I'll tell you, when I was over at the grocery store today, they were excited to tell me about the pork chops that they had sitting back at the meat counter. Bone-in pork chops, that's what I got because, that's my move. That's my absolute favorite. Now, I like a pork tenderloin. If you have a busy night, Going to your grocery store, picking up a pre-marinated pork tenderloin and just pop that bad boy in the oven for 20 minutes and off you go. You got dinner for your family. You're ready, full of flavor. Maybe you need inspiration. What I want you to do is support these family farmers. There are 3,000 of them all over Minnesota. That's what Minnesota pork is all about. Go to tastewhatporkcando.com to find recipe ideas, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store for your no-obligation custom fitting. The Good Feet Arch support system is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Call 855-554-3338 or stop by our locations in Roseville, Maple Grove, Burnsville, and Woodbury.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Step into pain relief.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down, so I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to mnestatelaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Stall being moved out of the traffic lane, crosstown eastbound near 169, pushed off to the right shoulder. Traffic is getting through the area without too much of a hassle. It's much better now that the car is not blocking anymore. Traveling crosstown eastbound between Tracy and France Avenue, find some slowing there. 35E northbound slows through downtown St. Paul. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Main event tonight is rain that may change over to snow. The weather brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan. We may end up with 1 to 3 inches more in Wisconsin. Low of 28. Tomorrow, 39 degrees. So if we get snow, it's probably going to stick around for a bit. Right now, it's 40 on CCO.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
So it's a new fundraiser going on at Orchestra Hall. It is Thursday night. It is called Taste of Hope Twin Cities. You can just Google it, or you can go to the American Cancer Society website. It's easy to find. You just type in Taste of Hope Twin Cities. It'll get you right to the ticketing page, so you can come and taste food from more than a dozen local chefs, different tasting stations. Should be awesome. And the special guest of honor is our special guest this hour, Chef Shirley Chung, who joins us in studio. Had a restaurant in L.A., had a number of appearances on Top Chef, and she just finished telling us about her stage 4 tongue cancer diagnosis, treatment, and a little over a year ago, you rang the bell, right?
Mm-hmm. I rang the bell in November 1st of 2024. And since now I'm 16 months in remission, and my oncologist will say that once I have clear scan for 2 years, that I am officially cured.
Officially cured.
Officially
Wow.
cured.
And you got to keep your tongue?
I can you keep my tongue. I want to say I'm the perfect example of cancer research saving life. Well, not only save my life and also save my career. And as a chef, I'm still cooking. Since my remission, I opened 2 new restaurants in Dallas and went back on television and filmed Tournament Champion with Food Network. And now I'm here for Taste of Hope, Twin City, working with American Cancer Society because I believe I am the living example of cancer research saves life.
Chef, our commenters are loving you, so grateful that you shared your story, and I'm so grateful too. I'm so glad that you're still able. Your palate's a little different though, right?
A little different, but adjust to it.
It's so good. Hope everybody will get a chance to come out and see you on Thursday night. And good luck in the Tournament of Champions.
Yes.
Always good stuff. Shirley Chung with us. DeRUSH Eats brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board. Thanks, Shirley, and go check out the info about Taste of Hope, the Twin Cities. I'll be as soon as the show's over. I gotta work, but I'll be there on Thursday night. That's for sure. CBS News straight ahead on CCO.
Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Hear what they're saying about this brand I love.
Tell me about your experience with the night gummies.
I started using them. I think this is my 3rd order. I heard Jordana on WCCO radio talking about it, and I thought, well, if she's doing it, trying to get off the Ambien, and I started with the pineapple gummies for sleep. That's what I take them for, is sleep. And I've been very pleased with the product. I started with the full gummy. Now I only take half, and that helps me sleep. So I'm very happy with the product, and I'm 70 years old. So.
And those Sleep Night gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those Sleep Night gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enables buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Streaming live via the Odyssey and iHeartRadio apps. This is News Talk 830 WCCO, 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says the U.S. has destroyed mine-laying boats in the Strait of Hormuz. CBS's Linda Kenyon.
In a post on social media, President Trump wrote, quote, I am pleased to report that within the last few hours, we have hit and completely destroyed 10 inactive mine-laying boats and or ships with more to follow. The post comes after an earlier warning from the president that if Iran put out any mines in the strait, he wants them removed immediately. He also said if it does not, the U.S. will take action similar to what it has done to eliminate drug trafficking boats.
A U.S. official briefed on Pentagon estimates confirms to CBS News that the cost of munitions used during the first 2 days of the war with Iran was $5.6 billion. The estimate was shared with Congress this week. It's been 11 days since the fighting erupted in Iran, and with the Trump administration saying that Iran's missile launching capabilities have been reduced by 90%. CBS's Charlie D'Agata.
Bahrain has reported another drone attack there. The UAE continues to say that it's intercepting drone and missile attacks. And here in Israel, I can tell you that the number of attempted attacks is down. The frequency, the intensity of attacks is down.
Someone opened fire on the U.S. consulate building in Toronto early this morning. Nobody was hurt. CBS's Chris Mavridi says The consulate has been the site of several Iran war protests lately.
The glass definitely is bulletproof, and it appears there was some minor damage to the glass on the front door of the consulate and a window next to it, and what looks like a lot of shell casings on the road in front of it.
Tornado watches are now up for western Texas until 10 p.m. Central Time and for portions of Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana until 11 Central. Georgia voters head to the polls for a special election to choose a successor in Congress to Marjorie Taylor Greene. CBS's Skylar Henry says there are 17 candidates.
12 Republicans, 3 Democrats, a Libertarian, and an Independent are all in this race. President Trump threw his support behind District Attorney Clay Fuller, who describes himself as a MAGA warrior and also an America First patriot.
A suburban Chicago nonprofit is trying to preserve a church with a special connection.
The sun shines through beautiful stained glass windows and through a hole in the roof on top of St. Mary of the Assumption in Riverdale. Why is it so special?
The first American pope.
That's Joe Hall, who bought the property where Pope Leo XIV went to school and to church. Now that it's on the Preservation Chicago list of most endangered buildings of 2026, Hall is hoping developers will invest in the church so it can be turned into an oratory.
It'll still remain a place of worship, a place where people can come.
CBS's Allison Keyes reporting, CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy and 41 degrees at 5:03. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Fry. This hour's top story. Governor Tim Walz is proposing a new plan to centralize oversight of the state's human services programs.
The governor and DHS Commissioner Shireen Gandhi unveiled a plan to shift Medicaid administration away from a county-led model to a centralized state system following several high-profile fraud cases. Walz says the proposal aims to replace outdated technology and streamline eligibility processes.
We think this is a way of simplification. It's a way to use best practices. It's ways to use modern technology. It's ways to use AI. And what that does is takes the burden off the counties.
Republican lawmakers criticize the move, arguing that expanding an already distrusted state agency at the expense of private sector partners will increase taxpayer costs. The two sides must now negotiate the details of the plan as the legislature weighs the issue. At the state capitol, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Charges have been filed following a deadly weekend hit and run that left a Bloomington woman dead.
58-year-old Rolando Miranda Martinez faces one count of leaving the scene of a collision resulting in death after allegedly striking and killing 40-year-old Leslie Youngberg around 2 a.m. Saturday at the intersection of Cliff Road and Nichols Road in Eagan. Surveillance footage led police to the suspect's vehicle. Miranda Martinez reportedly told police he hit something that jumped out at him and admitted to leaving the scene. He also told investigators that he was coming home from a Minneapolis bar, but denied drinking. Court records show Miranda Martinez has previous drunk driving convictions. He's in custody and due in court at the end of the month. Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison taking part in the people's hearing on immigration enforcement today at the state capitol, joined by numerous other municipal leaders. Ellison praised immigrant business leaders.
Thank you to the members of the community. Our Latino business community is making such a tremendous and vitally important contribution to our economy.
The purpose of the hearing was to document, preserve on the record testimony regarding the impact of federal immigration enforcement on constitutional protection.
No one in our country, no matter where you are born, is beneath the protection of the law, and that is why these stories are so critically important.
And 32 high school girls basketball teams will compete in the girls high school basketball state tournament starting tomorrow in Minneapolis. Stewartville is the top seed in Class 3A. Head coach Tanner Tyke says there are talented teams and rosters up and down the bracket.
Everyone's here for a reason. It doesn't matter what seed you are. It doesn't matter what your story was throughout the year. Like, everyone made it to the state tournament because they're a good basketball team. And you just need to make sure that you keep your eyes on and your focus on what it is that you want to remember your experience as and what you want that season to kind of end like.
Games get underway tomorrow morning inside Maturi Pavilion and Williams Arena on the University of Minnesota campus. It's 5:06, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
East 494 jammed up, East Bush Lake Road 235W. Give yourself an extra 3 to 5. Traveling South 35E, got some slowdowns right now as you come down from Larpenteur Avenue with a crash now being reported there at Cayuga Street. Up on the north side, Highway 10 westbound flowing nicely as make way between University and Anoka. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Washburn-McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Snow will be falling and accumulating as we pass through the night tonight. 1 to 3 inches possible in the Twin Cities. It will be a wet snow, a lot of it melting on contact, but eventually accumulating. Expect more snow across the St. Croix and western Wisconsin, where there's a winter weather advisory. Clouds will be clearing out tomorrow, only a high of 39, which is average this time of year. Another round of rain to snow late on Thursday. This one will be lighter.
All right, thank you, Chris. 41 and cloudy at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
The best place for open discussion and debate.
Discussion and debate? Sign me up.
News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Once again, here's Jason DeRUSH.
Do you ever have one of those moments where you have an appointment and then you freak out that, like, you missed it? This happened to me this morning. Welcome to Drive Time Hour 3. DeRUSH Hour News headlines coming your way in just a minute. But first this morning, I'm up.
Now shut up and drive.
I'm ready to go. I'm preparing for the day. And I knew I had a haircut today. Now, this is not a Dan Cook concern. Very rarely.
Why you got to bring that up? Why you got to go there?
Very rarely.
There's no reason to go. I mean, you telling a story has nothing to do with me, and you just got to do a drive-by on me on the way. Why? Why you got to do that?
A lot of people tell me that I should shave my hair and then not have to worry about the haircut.
I mean, I haven't paid for a haircut in probably 30 years, so
I'm
saying there's a little value.
And I pay.
You also don't have to do shampoo or conditioner. You don't pay for any of that either.
Well, my hair guy, Andy, who, if you want to see Andy, I posted a video of Andy on my Instagram and on my Facebook pages today. I took you along with me on my haircut. And let's just say the reaction to this video is as I expected. It's mostly women posting, Andy's hot. Which, like, to be honest, Andy is hot. He's a very good-looking man. And I always apologize to Andy. And again, I'm getting nothing from Andy. Like, don't call the FCC. But Andy's shop, the Dapper Wolf, I apologize all the time because if you have a hair salon and you've got yourself like a quote-unquote local celebrity client, doesn't it suck that it's me? It's like, don't you wish You had someone with like Lou Raguse style hair, like somebody with beautiful hair, and instead you've got whatever I have going on. So I always feel bad that Andy sort of got. Anyway, I had looked through my email because I thought my appointment was at 10 this morning, and then I saw an email that was like 9:30, and it was 9:25, and I was in my bathrobe.
Well, I mean, we do know that you're not afraid to go out in your bathrobe, so.
I did get dressed before I went. It was 10 o'clock. Maybe this is what I need to actually show up to places on time, because I was on time for my haircut today. Oh, my goodness. But it's that moment where you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the worst.
Did I mess this up? Turned out I did. A rare moment for me where I thought I messed something up and I didn't. Let's bring you up to speed with the DeRUSH Hour News headline.
The headlines you might have missed without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DeRUSH Hour headlines, starting with the lead.
And the first story I want to update you on is the strife in the Middle East. So many developments today in this conflict, in this war. The U.S. have been bombarding Iran, the Pentagon saying the most intense strikes of the war are going on at the same time. People fleeing Lebanon, nearly 700,000 fleeing Israeli strikes in Lebanon. I don't know that we all are as plugged into what is going on over there than maybe we were during the Gulf War, during some of these other conflicts. Perhaps it's because the reality is it feels like we're in a perpetual state of war and conflict over there. But we need to be paying more attention to what's going on there. Yesterday, the president said that we're almost done. Then he said there's more to do. Then he said we're nearly exited. Hard to know exactly what's going on over there, but images for sure telling the story. CNN crews have been taking cover repeatedly today, so lots going on. Here in Minnesota, the big story is a plan from the governor, Tim Walz, to centralize human services. Finally, some discussion about what might prevent fraud in Minnesota, what might catch it before we've sent taxpayer dollars out the door. The question is this. Does this even have a shot at the legislature? Who knows? Here's a little of what the governor had to say.
We think this is a way of simplification. It's a way to use best practices. It's ways to use modern technology. It's ways to use AI. And what that does is takes the burden off the counties, the managed care organizations, and gives the state and the taxpayers a much more transparent view in how the system works.
So I like these conversations, right? Now, our legislators going to go for it. One lawmaker telling the Minnesota Star Tribune these proposals are dead on arrival, eliminating the use of organizations like Blue Cross and Medica when you're looking at Medicaid programs, having the state take on some of the work that the county is doing. Reform is where we need to be talking. And look forward to more ideas from Republicans, more ideas from Democrats, but there are certainly things that this state needs to be doing better that we are not doing right now. Many people, when they're unhappy with government, say that they want a chance to vote on things directly. How would you like to vote on your own property taxes?
All in favor? Aye! All opposed? Nay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. Effort at the Capitol. A state senator from Blaine has brought forth a proposal that would have local governments get approval from voters for any property tax higher than the rate of inflation, and maybe a bit more. So, like, if inflation is up by 3% and the population of Brooklyn Park grows by 1%, you could increase your property taxes by 3.5% before having to go to the voters. Right now, the only unit of government that has to do this is your school district, right? This is why you have these school tax referendums. Does this make sense? I don't know. We elect representatives to actually make difficult decisions. I think part of the challenge, the frustration for voters, is that nobody ever says enough. Nobody ever says, you know what, we got to cut instead of how are we going to raise more revenue? How are we going to raise more revenue? So, I don't know. I still hesitate to. People just want to vote when they're ticked. You wanted to vote for the flag. How come we didn't get to vote for the flag? We don't get to vote for everything. Vote for people who aren't losers to go represent you at the state government. I don't want to vote on everything. I don't. Although, if you choose wrong, then I'll say, like, how come I didn't get to vote? This is just not how it works. Vote for good representatives, hold them accountable, and then kick them out if they do a crappy job. That's what I would prefer. That's what I would prefer. Did you know that in Minnesota we have a state chess tournament?
Checkmate.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is not checkmate.
See you tomorrow, pal.
Now, just hold on. This is not checkmate.
Twin Cities Pioneer Press, Catherine Kovalenko reporting about the 61st annual Scholastic Chess Tournament. 383 students took part. It was the largest state tournament over at University of St. Thomas. That's where it was hosted. Largest state tournament in 26 years. I do think chess, especially for young people, is such a great competitive thing, a great mind stretcher. A big fan of chess for young people. That's the DeRUSH Hour News headline. In just a minute, Ramsey County, with an effort to, try to make some people whole when it comes to the impact of the surge in ICE agents and some of the impacts that businesses were seeing in St. Paul. We'll talk about that. What are they thinking about? We'll discuss it with Ramsey County in just a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chris Lindahl Real Estate is more than just a guy with his arms wide out on the billboard. It's Jason for my friend Chris Lindahl. He's a Minnesotan. He's one of us. I've known Chris for a long time. This guy loves our community. He cares about our community, and he is an innovator when it comes to real estate. It's one of the reasons I really like talking to Chris, because there's an energy and an excitement there about doing things differently. And one of the things that Chris figured out a long time ago is the old way of selling a home is broken. It just is. You've probably seen Chris handing out big red checks to so many people all over the Twin Cities who have said, you know what? I don't want to do it the old way. I'm not interested in the old way. I want speed. I want convenience. I certainly do not want the uncertainty of listing on the open market. And you look at the uncertainty around the world. We were talking about the global situation. You don't know what gas prices. You don't know what interest rates are going to be. It's just all up in the air. And Chris has been handing out 80% more big red checks than last year. Give Chris your headaches, your hassles, your sleepless nights. You don't have to pay agent commissions. See if the guaranteed cash offer makes sense for you. Go to the website, chrislindahl.com. Get your free smart seller guide today.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
When you're in pain, you need the Good Feet store. Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store for your no-obligation custom fitting. You'll immediately feel the difference.
I walked right into the Good Feet store and I tried the Good Feet Arch Support System, and my hip pain is gone, went away.
The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to put your foot in the most ideal position, redistributing the body weight more evenly, helping to relieve pain and stress in the body.
That nagging pain in my lower back, gone!
on! The Good Feet store has over 350 styles and sizes to relieve your pain.
I've always had bad knees. I've had 6 surgeries, and I could never do a knee bend. Now I can do a knee bend. I'm working out, and it's just wonderful.
Call 855-554-3338 or stop by our locations in Roseville, Maple Grove, Burnsville, and Woodbury. Step into pain relief.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jason DeRUSH.
I mean, the truth is, I am a terrible influence on Minnesota, on America, and perhaps the world.
Well, I've known that for years, but other people are just finding out.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRUSH Hour news headlines going in depth now to talk about some temporary property tax relief to help people affected by Operation Metro Surge. Ramsey County, one of the first actions we've seen from government to try to help out the people who felt the impact of this. And to explain what's going on in Ramsey County and how they're going to make this work is the county manager, Ling Becker, who joins us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Ling, nice to visit with you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. Nice to be here.
All right, tell me what, and it was the county commissioners that sort of directed you in early February to figure out a total response to kind of what was going on with the immigration surge, right?
Yes, our county board passed a resolution on February 3rd that condemned many of the actions that ICE had done to our community. But as part of that action, they also instructed me to do some work around supporting our community.
So, how do you get temporary property tax relief? What are we doing here? Who are you helping out? How does this work?
Yeah, so this is something that we actually did back in 2020 during the pandemic. So we sort of pulled something out of that playbook. But really, essentially, we are extending our property tax deadline for 2 months. Typically, it's due May 15th. It's going to be due July 15th. And so this is going to apply to non-escrowed homestead properties. It's also going to apply to non-escrowed small businesses whose annual property tax obligation is $50,000 or less. And then also residential non-homestead properties, 1 to 3 unit properties that have a property tax obligation of $20,000 or less.
So you're not
3 categories.
3 different categories, yeah. And you're not. It's not like you're waiving the property tax, but the idea is to give people a little more time to get back on their feet, right?
Absolutely. What we are kind of waiving technically is any late fees during that time period. And then we're also just giving people, just as you said, just a little extra runway to kind of recover from, the business disruption, work disruption, not to have that, looming property tax bill that needs to be paid, by May 15th, otherwise incurring penalties.
And do you have any estimate or any guess? I mean, is this the fact that you as a county are not bringing this revenue in? Is this going to, how are you guys going to make that work?
Yeah, so this isn't just applying to our county. So just for folks to know, we are the taxing jurisdiction for Ramsey County, but we actually collect taxes for all our, cities and also for school districts, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so we've been in partnership with all of them to, work with them to notify that this is going to be, like a slight cash flow delay
Right.
for most jurisdictions. In addition, the loss of potential, the fees that would have been incurred potentially during that time period. We didn't have any issues with any of our jurisdictions. They were all very willing to engage in the conversation. And like I said, we sort of pulled a playbook, out of the past with 2020, and we had sort of flexed this muscle and kind of understood how it works. So, we actually knew sort of back then with the data of how many people took advantage in 2020. So, we were able to make some educated forecasts as well for just thinking through the process.
Yeah, makes sense because not everybody's going to apply for it. There are plenty of people. But for those who need it, what a nice sort of situation to say, like, all right, like we're going to give you a delay. We're not going to give you any penalty. And hopefully you'll get back on your feet because, we do know that certainly businesses. But when you think about businesses in Ramsey County, a lot of those businesses are run by homeowners, right? So if your restaurant had no business, you have no cash flow. And this could be a major benefit for you to have a little bit of your own cash flow help when it comes to your own household.
Yeah, absolutely. I think any sort of, cash flow helps with both individual incomes and with business income right now. And certainly as we, hopefully move into some warmer weather, we think, business activity, especially for our restaurants and those really impacted small businesses should pick up. So really, having an opportunity to play a little catch up, get things a little bit back to normal. We're really just giving people some of that runway and extra room to be able to, continue business, which is so absolutely critical. We don't want people to have to shutter their business or go into bankruptcy or something because, they owe us a tax bill that maybe they could, catch up on here with just a little grace from us. And we've been really focused around the surge to focus on things that we can control as a county, and this is something we have, jurisdiction to do. So
Ling Becker is the county manager of Ramsey County, the chief executive of the county there. And when you look at options, as you guys waved, like, all right, what could we do? Were there things you looked at where you're like, this just, we can't like delay the collection of sales tax. That's what are there other things you looked at that maybe you dismissed or require kind of county board approval to do?
I think our board, was open to things that we can control, right? A lot of things that governments, I think this is one of the, the hard things about the surge is that local governments have been sort of requested to do things that sometimes are beyond their jurisdiction or their powers. And, this is something that by state statute, we absolutely can authorize abatement penalties for, late property taxes. We actually have that authority under our county treasurer, So we really want to do things that, one, are impactful, but also within our realm of the things that
you can
we
control.
Have control over.
Right.
Absolutely, right? And cities might not be able to do this on their own, so they're doing other things. And I think this is that moment where everyone kind of does their part, whether you're an individual who can go out and shop and eat at these establishments, whether you're a city that's maybe helping with housing eviction. A lot of cities are doing that. Well, we as a county, this is the bit of relief and space we can support as well. So,
well, if you're in Ramsey County and this affects you, you can, as always, like it's not the easiest to find the website, but if you search 2026 property tax extension, Ramsey County, that got me to the webpage, so that should get you there too, and you can see all the info about how you apply and all of that. But it's a nice step, I think. And for people who need it, this temporary extension, that cash flow is everything, so that does make a big difference.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me come on and share the opportunity with folks today.
Good stuff. Ling Becker in Ramsey County. They didn't make the mess, so they're just trying to deal with it as much as they can. And we appreciate Ling being with us here on CCO. Let's break. I have got a crazy story for you coming up. It's either inspiring or virtue signaling. Actually, maybe it's both. A state representative has a baby, and she rode her e-bike in labor to the hospital and then rode in an e-bike with the baby to go home. What is going on? I kind of love it. You guys are going to have such crazy reactions to this story. So don't go anywhere. It's coming up in just a minute. Representative Katie Jones joins us on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
The merger of Elon Musk's artificial intelligence and space companies XAI and SpaceX is designed to put AI data centers in space and a city on the moon. Musk says that global electricity demand for current advances in AI can't be met with terrestrial solutions, whereas data centers in space would be powered by solar. Musk believes the lowest cost way to generate AI compute will be in space. I'm Jason Brooks.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. South 35E as you make way toward University Avenue, accident with injuries. Left lane shut down, stop and go stuff in place as you come down from Larport Avenue. Tack another 5 to 7 there. If you're traveling Highway 10 westbound, look good as you make way between 35W and Anoka. West 94, some slowing there between Hemlock Lane and Weaver Lake Road. Protect your home before spring storms arrive. Choose GAF asphalt shingles and receive free installation labor this March. Go to lindasconstruction.com. Shirley Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
You sit on your deck and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
JTR Roofing bringing us the latest forecast from our friend, Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
3 rounds of snow in the next several days. The first one hits tonight. We could see 1 to 3 inches by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. A winter weather advisory for those listening in western Wisconsin, where you could see a little more snow. 28 the overnight low, only a high of 39 on a breezy day. We'll see some sunshine, but it's going to feel pretty raw out there. Another round of rain to snow late on Thursday. That will be lighter, and we're still keeping an eye on a system that could bring some heavy snow this weekend.
Right now, the snow is in the St. Cloud area, break in the rain in the metro Twin Cities, but we'll be watching it all night right here on CCO.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Don't you know how to control?
When Alyssa and I left the hospital 18 and 20 years ago with our newborn baby sons, I remember being filled with like a little uncertainty, a little curiosity that they allowed us just to leave there with the kids. But we left in our car with car seats, and I remember stopping at Wendy's and getting a spicy chicken sandwich. That was like the little luxury on the drive home. So I had to talk to Representative Katie Jones after seeing the headline of the Star Tribune talking about lawmaker husband riding e-bike to and from their first baby's delivery. Katie is with us at the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Come on now, Katie. You gave birth and then got on the e-bike?
We did. I stepped in the cargo bucket of the e-bike, so I was not riding itself.
But you fit in that cargo bucket, huh?
Yeah, it was a tight fit, I will admit, but yeah, I fit in there. We fit the car seat that attaches to the bucket, and it worked out pretty well.
Congratulations on the birth. Your son's name is? Hans. Very good. Now, our listeners are not going to be surprised that you're a Minneapolis Democrat. I mean, this is very Democrat coded, Katie, getting on the e-bike right after you leave the hospital.
Well, I mean, I represent my district. I can't say anything more than that.
You're not taking the bait there. That's all you're saying. I like it. You and your husband do you have a car?
We have not had a car since 2018. We had one of those VWs that was recalled, and so we gave it back up, and we're like, let's see how long we can last without a car. And it's been 7 years now, or 8 years.
Wow. Very cool. State Representative Katie Jones with us talking about the baby's delivery. And how far is the hospital? What are we talking about here? Were you comfortable? I have so many questions. Was it comfortable? Was it not comfortable in the cargo bay after you just gave birth?
So I got to stay a little bit longer at the hospital, so 3 days, and so I felt pretty comfortable. It had a padded seat in the cargo bucket, and we put down another blanket below me. So I felt, it was in luxury in terms of cargo bike land.
Now, I assume you did talk to your doctor about this, right? Because you had to have somebody in your life that could have picked you up, or you could have taken an Uber or something like that, right?
Yes. So we talked to our OB a couple months ago about it, and she was at first shocked because this was not a normal thing to bring up, but we talked about what an e-cargo bike is, that it's got a big bucket in the front that can haul multiple people, and it's got a seat, and then we can put a car seat in it. And, once we explained it to her, she's like, that's awesome. And the nurses at the hospital were equally a little confused, and a couple of them came downstairs to see the bike. Peter was happy to show it off to them. But yeah, we were honestly impressed, and that we didn't have any resistance from any of our medical team.
You made it home, no big deal. It's all fine. And were you taking the Greenway? What is your route here? So I ride my bike in the city as well, and we have some protected bike lanes, some where it's a little more hairy. I like the Greenway. What was your route?
Great question. So I live in Uptown, and we were blessed with multiple options. And my husband and I, we did some trial runs. We tried 24th, we tried 26th and 28th. And then the Greenway is a little bit further away from us, and so that would have made our trip longer.
Yeah.
It also includes some inclines, right? And with it's an e-bike, so it does have a motor in it, but when it's loaded down, it can still be take some effort on my husband's part to get it up the hill.
Right.
So that's why we ultimately decided 26th and 28th. They are protected bike lanes, and I'm just honestly really grateful that the city of Minneapolis over the last decade or more has been, investing in protected bike infrastructure, because that's what ultimately made me feel safe in taking this ride.
Katie Jones is with us, recovering, sleeping a little bit with the baby now at home.
A little bit.
A little bit, exactly. So obviously some people love this, right? And I think it's great. On Blue Sky, on Twitter, some very, very positive response. But then, of course, also the obvious pushback where people are saying, look, I understand virtue signaling, but this is next level virtue signaling, that you're taking the bike. How do you respond to that?
We are very diverse people, and we need diverse transportation options to fit our own needs. And like I said, like we don't own a car. We had access to cars. Several friends and family were very willing to loan us their car if we needed it. But at the end of the day, like I said, we have the infrastructure. We had access to the bike. And so why not? And it's honestly, it was fun. It was something to look forward to. You know, going into delivery is, you know, I know there's going to be pain. That part's not going to be fun. And so it's just not another thing that we could look forward to for this whole thing.
Yeah. I also think like virtue signaling in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Like using a moment that you had to also send a message, I think there's value in that. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. And I'll say the other piece to this is, for me, protecting the climate is really important. And the way that we think about our infrastructure really ties into that. And so the more that we can bring attention to the various transportation options that we have and showing that it's safe, I think also just puts another step in the right direction so that we can help protect our climate.
Pretty fun. Congratulations. I hope you don't have to spend too much more time in the cargo bay of an e-bike. I mean, you know, it's a good bit, but it does not look, and we're showing, if you're watching on our video stream, we're showing the picture of you in the cargo bay. You know, this is not necessarily how you're going to want to travel around Minneapolis with your baby in the coming months, right?
Not every day. And that's why I said the transportation options are important. I'm a huge lover of transit, and that's how I'll be getting to the Capitol most days.
Katie, congratulations on the journey ahead of you. Many, many years of great success as a mom, and to your husband, Peter, and your new son, who had quite an entry into Minneapolis on his first journey on an e-bike. Good stuff. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Pretty fun. Katie Jones with us here on CCO. I think it's great. I you know, texters, what a dumb, dangerous move to take your newborn home. And that, I don't know, it's pretty dangerous getting in a car. I mean, I don't know. This is how they live. Why not? Why not? I think it's fine. I like my car. You don't, guys, like, no one's coming for your car. I'm going to drive home today, everybody. It's going to be fine. It's just interesting. You know, this should not be triggering. If this triggers you, please seek professional help. No one's taking your car. Katie Jones is not coming for she's not putting you in an e-bike out in, you know, New Ulm and Elk River and Brooklyn Park. It's going to be fine. But it does go to the fact that, like, you could do this. Her doctors said it was fine, and off they did it. So I think it's great. I'm not encouraging anybody else to do it. But she wanted to do it, and she did it. Why are people so triggered, Dan?
Oh, because you got to own the libs, man.
It's like,
got to own the libs.
I told her, I'm like, it's very Democrat coded.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And by the way, she didn't deny that either.
She did not. I don't know. I think it's great. Like, whatever.
How much, I mean, I'm not going to cast any aspersions on her, but it's stuff like this where you do start to wonder a little bit, how much of this, this is really going to make the righties mad. Watch what I do here. Or this is going to really make the lefties mad. Watch what we do. I mean, you know, how much of this is just kicking over an anthill to see how many people you can tweak?
I don't know. I get a sense from her that this is like true believer stuff. This isn't about like sticking it to the other guy. It's more about, this is really important to me. This is part of my ethos. And like she said, sort of, let's see if we could do it.
Yeah.
Like you test it out ahead of time. I believe I read that she was inspired by somebody else who did this a couple years ago. I'm sure there's a certain component where, like, you know, it's going to get people fired up.
Well, and that's the thing of it is, it's one thing to say
Probably
this is
fun too.
My ethos. I want to see if this works. And then when I go to the trouble of taking pictures and sharing the story on social media, which you're allowed to do.
Yep.
But then you're going to have people come in and say, well, are you doing this for the clicks?
Yeah.
Are you doing this because you really want to do this and this is your personal ethos? Or are you doing this for the story and for the gram?
You can't do anything in this world without someone throwing that at you.
Right.
It's like the people who say to me, like, oh, you're just trying to get attention. And you're like, well, sort of.
I mean, you are, yeah.
That's sort of. Like, that's what this, yeah. But, like, is that negative? I don't know. It
Well,
sort of
so is
depends what
everybody
you do
else,
with
right?
that,
That's just it. I
right?
mean, 90% of the people that are screaming about, oh, she's just doing this for the attention on the internet are also people that post all their meals or post whatever they post on the I mean, we're all doing
That's
it.
why I say that virtue signaling is not like signaling that you are virtuous about something. I generally see it as a positive.
Well-
some of you guys could use a little more virtue signaling in your life.
And this is the brilliance of the right. I'll give them full credit for this. The ability to take something that uses the word virtue and turn it into a negative.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, when they took politically correct and made that a negative, right? A phrase with the word correct in it is now a bad thing.
I think the implication is
it's
that
brilliant.
it's phony.
Right.
And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Texter says, actually, bikers are coming for your cars. Just talk to the Bike Minnesota group. Their goal is to eliminate cars. Sure.
I mean, there's a
That
significant
is
portion
true.
of Minneapolis that is coming for your car, for sure.
It is a small, loud group.
Yes.
And just like, I will say this, I think there are a hell of a lot more drivers who would like to eliminate every bike lane and wouldn't be real opposed if they ran over a couple of bikers. So, I don't know.
Well, I hope that's a bit hyperbolic. Abolishing
I
the bike
don't
lane.
think it is.
Abolishing the bike lane, I'm with you. The hitting the biker part, that's a bit more problematic.
I mean, our text line, I don't know.
Well,
Gotta
people say stuff on text lines they'd never do in a million years just because they can.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like biking around the Twin Cities. I do like that we have bike lanes and protected bike lanes, and I appreciate that. I do think, and I've said before, that I do think there's a considerable vibe in Minneapolis where they hate you if you are driving.
Yeah.
And I don't care for that. But I also try to model the fact that you can be a driver, and I like driving. I like cars. I don't apologize for that. And I also like riding my bike. And I like experiencing what it's like to ride my bike in the city because it does give me a little more insight into where people are coming from.
There are some absolutely beautiful trails and places to bike around, even in the city, but around the state as a whole. There's just an amazing network of bike trails, which is somewhat ironic when you think about it, that we have snow 6 months out of the year, and it's one of the most bikeable places in the world.
One of my favorite things about my Maple Grove subdivision is that it's connected to all the trails.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Right after this show, today's a big haircut day for the DeRUSH family. Alyssa, I believe, is getting her hair, should I say she's getting her hair colored? I think every woman knows that no one's hair is their actual color, right? So Alyssa's getting her hair done and did. And so I'm going to go read and hang out at the Minneapolis Club, just right up the street. So we're members of the Minneapolis Club. One of the things I love is that you can come and check it out. And in fact, next week, I'm moderating a panel discussion on the state of the arts in Minnesota. So it's a lunch thing. So if you're interested in that, send us a text. I can hook you up with tickets because it's going to be great. A lunch, all of the leaders of like the Walker, MIA, we got theaters, we got the orchestra, the Ordway, pretty cool. So Minneapolis Club, we love being a part of it, and it loves being a part of the center of activity in the center of our state. We'll break. Drive Time back with more in just a minute as we lead you up to Henry Lake here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Who loves comparison shopping for insurance? Raise your hand. Oh, no one? Yeah, it's Jason for the Canopy Group. I'll tell you what you will enjoy, the Canopy Group experience. It's different. It is different from having one insurance agent who has one company. And I don't know about you, but back when I had one insurance agent with one company, every year when I got my bill, I would call my agent and be like, come on, man, like, is this really the best deal? Is there something else out there? Is there a different product out there? I always had to be hassling him. With the Canopy Group, one call, one visit to thecanopygroup.com, and they will take care of this for you for the rest of your life. Every year, they run your personal situation through their 16 different companies. So you have 16 companies. And they're going to get you the best coverage for the best price. Some of these companies are big names. You know them. Some of them maybe you don't know, but all of them have been vetted. All of them provide great service, great coverage, and all of them will take care of you. But it's about finding the best fit for your scenario. That is the Canopy Group difference. Reach out today. 800-967-3389 is the number. 800-967-3389. It's almost 6 o'clock. You might want to just go to the website. You can get a quote right there. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Before the flowers bloom, ahead of the birds returning, the first real sign of spring, it's Twins baseball.
Buck pulls this one down the left field line, has a chance. Get up, get going.
The sights and sounds of everything at spring training happens here.
Sharply through the left side, RBI single, Austin Martin, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Your flagship home for Twins baseball. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Bring your visions to life with smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need to achieve your goals. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
Marketing. We know it makes a huge difference when you're selling your home. It's Vanita here. My friends from the John Schuster Group with Coldwell Banker Realty make sure their clients' homes are marketed to everybody. They get people interested in your home. Call John Schuster. If your last agent couldn't sell your home, the good neighbor agent, that's what we call him, just helped Patrick sell his house. A different agent couldn't find Patrick a buyer after 168 days on the market. Patrick was giving up. He called John after hearing me talk about all of his clients' success stories. There's so many of them. John got Patrick multiple offers right away. That's what he does. That's what his team does. John sold Patrick's home for over the asking price after just 3 days. Want to know what your home is worth? That's part of the process. Find out in seconds on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Going to find things running a little bit on the slow side, traveling south 35E right through downtown St. Paul. The crash near University has been taken care of, but still some lingering slowdowns. Traveling 94 eastbound, some slowing there, Franklin Avenue as you head out toward Cretin. If you're traveling the crosstown, got your slowdowns eastbound run between the area of Lyndale and Portland Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's go. Are you guys ready for snow? Are you ready for winter to come back? Yeah, I don't know. Are some of you ready for it? Probably. Live look at radar showing some light snow. We're dry in the metro right now. We'll be watching this throughout the night. More snow in Wisconsin. Winter weather advisory there. 1 to 3 inches. We'll be looking at low at 28. Tomorrow, clouds decrease. Does that mean sun increases? My note says decreasing clouds. High is 39. It'll be 46 on Thursday. More rain, more snow. Right now, it's 40 on CCO.
Drive time with DeRUSH.
I'm just going to give it a big fat so what?
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
So I called into Adam Carter's show today because Adam was talking about how he prefers to not listen to talk radio. I mean, really? Really? So I called in because you know what I was doing? Listening to his stupid show. Why do I ever listen to Adam and Jordana when you have so many great other options available? It does bring up an interesting conversation, which is, what is your obligation to patronize your place of employment? And maybe we should talk about that tomorrow. I would say, generally speaking, your obligation is to show up to work, do your job, and go home. That's pretty much your obligation. But, if you never listen to this radio station, I am judging you, and I hate you. And I am talking to our sales department. That's who I'm talking to there. We're on from 3 to 6. My name is Jason DeRUSH.
Hey, Twins fans, it's time for spring training at Fort Myers. Cheer on your favorite team.